Hello everyone, Squire. Welcome to highlights of the 2013 Formula SimRacing World Trophy. Round 2 of the World Trophy is the Bahrain Grand Prix, situated around the Herman Tilke designed Sakir circuit. About a couple of miles away from the country's capital Manama, the Bahrain International Circuit consists of tight corners and long straights, which will put the driver's brakes to the test, as well as keeping an eye out for overtaking opportunities on the track. Using different tyre compounds has been introduced for both sessions, so will improve both team strategy and performance on the track. Pole sitter is Renz Klopp for his first ever pole position in the WT race, just edging out a much more improved Mark A. Alberts coming in second place. Kane Bassel returns with an impressive third place. Johanny Alman manages to get fourth ahead of Eduard Correa, and Carlos Hernandez driving for fastest speed for the very first time. Eduard manages to get 7th ahead of Ben Tustig in 8th. Van Reno manages to get 9th ahead of Valenti in 10th, just rounding out the top 10. Carlos Martin manages to get 11th ahead of Alessio Campos, and Vanetti manages to get the Targa Florenzo in 13th position. 14th position manages to consist of George Borshoff, just manages to get ahead of Benjamin Chong, just ahead in 15th place. Jonathan Holmes manages to get 16th ahead of Marshall Thomas in 17th. Carlos Lopez manages to get 18th, but needs to improve more. Luke Decoy manages to get ahead of Asprey, who rounds up off the 20 positions. Kevin Siggy was going to take part in 21st place, but unfortunately just left the game after the qualifying session. Renz Klopp's brother, Wim Klopp, manages to get a 22nd place on his debut. Jerome Hag manages to get 23rd ahead of Cursor in 24th. Fisher in 25th, and surprisingly Marco Zippoli hasn't got no time at all in the session, so therefore he qualifies at the back of the grid. So the race started and everyone managed to get off the grid except for those back markers who had a little bit of contact at the back. Luke Decoy was involved, so was Marco Zippoli, but he managed to keep going. Everyone managed to get into the first corner cleanly, with Renz Klopp just losing out to Mark Ibbotts going into the first corner. Thinking that he had a good start to the Grand Prix, George Borshoff's work is soon to become undone when he lost traction coming out of the hairpin and just starting of the second sector, losing a lot of places and being forced to the back. The second hairpin on the track had provided many overtaking opportunities to come by. Some made through, some didn't. For example, Mark Abers went wide, allowing Valenti to go through, and Martin passing Campos. But it wasn't all over for Campos yet, as he was under threat from Jonathan Holmes coming into the end of the second sector. Following the tremendous pace of the Abutter GP, he passed the Net Rex with ease. After qualifying at the back of the grid, Marco Zippoli's race think he couldn't get any worse. But unfortunately it can. He spun out and was forced to the back of the grid just behind Boshoff. He managed to gain ground and started his climb back to the top again. Koskar is having somewhat of an average race, but unfortunately he crashed into the side part of Luke Decoy, unfortunately losing his front wing. He managed to go back to the pits, but unfortunately he retired from the race thanks to a spin after turn 2. After recovering from his previous incident, Decoy unfortunately spun in the same place that Mark Zippoli spun out earlier. But unfortunately he took the same fate as Koskar, by spinning after turn 2 and stopping the same place as he did. Lap 13 and Nick Fisher was the next one to suffer. After losing traction out of the last corner, he crashed just before the pit lane entry. Just after Fisher's crash, Vanetti tries to get past Martin, but Martin refuses, only for Martin to spin out just before turn 1 and Vanetti gets through, also allowing other cars to go past. On the same lap, Keeney comes in for his pit stop, the first pit stop of the race. While Keeney was taking his pit stop, only one car went past him when he went for a pit stop. Jonathan Holmes, who manages to get past Keeney during his pit stop. Also coming in for a pit stop was Eduard Correa, who has unfortunately been unrecognised for the rest of the race. And as a result, loads of cars went past him. And as a result, dropping him down to 18th place. Since Keeney took his pit stop, Jonathan Holmes has been in at the front for only a couple of laps before going into the pits to change tyres. As a result, Keeney takes the lead of the race. He's ahead of Ebert and Tusting, with Mark Zippoli, who's been at the back, crawl his way up to the field after after that spin, and as a result, up into 4th place. After Holmes has gone into the pits, it looks like Keeney may have a win on the cars, but connection woes have blown his chances all over again. So Mark Ebert looked like he was going to win now. He's just leading ahead of Tusting and a much more improved Zippoli. After this pit stop, Holmes trying to find a way past Kenneth Bassel to hopefully get back onto the top of the table. In a Schumacher-esque style, Bassel tried to push him against the wall, but Holmes assisted and managed to take the position from him. The next one to serve was Alessio Campos. He went wide going into the end of the first sector, went wide onto the rumble strip, and therefore went wide onto the gravel trap. He later recovered, but unfortunately he decided that enough was enough and decided to stall and retire his car. Hag is having so much of a average debut, but unfortunately he went into the same way as his teammate. He spun himself out and unfortunately crashed. Not a good debut for him. Danny Asprey is having an average race as well, but unfortunately he spun himself out and stalling his engine. After trying to pull a move on Ren's Klopp, Marshall Thomas spun himself out and letting some other cars pass, including his sister team from GS Racing. He went wide, hoping to get much more traction and hopefully much more positions, but that didn't help it either. He spun out, making him less traction and therefore retiring as a consequence. After being in 3rd place for a couple of laps, Zippoli makes a move on Ben Tusting and just outbreaks him just at the beginning of the 2nd sector. And after going past Ben Tusting, he certainly goes on to the charge of Ebert's wing. He tries to make a move on the back straight and hoping he might make an overtaking opportunity just going out the last corner, which he precisely succeeds in doing, but Mark Ebert trying to make a move down the start and finish straight, but Marco Zippoli manages to block him and keep the lead, which he holds all the way to the finish line. Taking his 2nd win of the season, Marco Zippoli dominated once again, despite starting at the back of the... Mark Ebert finishes in 2nd and Ben Tusting in 3rd, but Tusting inadvertently crashed into Ebert after crossing the start and finish line, which he apologises for. Holmes gets a well-deserved 4th place ahead of Ren's Klopp. Johanny Alman manages to get ahead of Benjamin Chong in 7th. 8th goes to Carlos Martin ahead of Valerino. Corey rounds up the top 10 with Basel just missing out on the top 10. Lopez manages to get ahead of Hernandez for 12th and 13th. Wim Klopp manages to get 14th and Valente manages to get last point. Looking at the driver standings, and Zippoli has got a comfortable lead of 44 points, just heading out. So Mark Ebert's going up to 2nd, Carlos Martin gets 3rd, Ben Tusting 4th, Kiss 5th, Valente 6th, Chong 7th, Boshoff 8th, Varenio 9th, and Holmes in 10th place. As far as the Constructors' Championship is concerned, WT Chinese still leads ahead of Positive Sim Racing in 2nd place. Ghost Speed manages to get 3rd with 66 points, just out 12 points off Hacksport Racing and Alberto GP. PSR Team Orange manages to get ahead of Twisted Racing. WT Pescara Tree manages to get their 1st point and get to 8th. PSR Team Green is in 9th and GS Racing in 10th place. The next race will be the Chinese Grand Prix. You can watch that race live as it happens. Simply go to simrace.tv on the 5th of May at 12 PM GMT. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook and Twitter. And the FSR Fantasy League is back and sign-ups are open for the new season, so join there now for a chance at some Master prizes hopefully during the season. We hope you enjoyed today's highlights. I'm Ron Squire and join us next time for the next round of the 2013 Formula Sim Racing World Trophy.